This video will contain spoilers.
I don't think it's controversial to say that Kirito is one of the biggest wish fulfillment characters for the typical anime nerd. He gets stuck in a video game, he gets a girlfriend. The next 2 years of his life revolve around his skill in said video game. Because of his knowledge of said game, he is able to grind to be one of, if not the, top players in said game. Let me emphasize this point, he gets a girlfriend. Hell, other girls show interest in him. He takes the moniker of the Black Swordsman, and he doesn't even have to argue with nerds on the internet over it. He gets a girlfriend. Also, and this is probably the most amazing part of SAO, the game works perfectly at launch. For those of you who aren't gamers, let me explain. In 2023, when a video game you buy actually works the day it comes out and doesn't require weeks or possibly months of developers running around fixing bugs, yeah, that's pretty amazing. It shouldn't be, but that's the world we currently live in. So, Kirito is a wish fulfillment character. But what if I were to tell you that there is another? And what if I were to tell you that this other person is also a character created by Reiki Kawahara, the author of Sword Art Online? Actually, that last one shouldn't even be a surprise. It's hardly outrageous for an author to use similar concepts in other works. So, before Sword Art Online, there was Accel World. And before Kirito, there was Haruyuki, aka the Silver Crow. A guy that looks like this, and manages to score a girlfriend that looks like this. Bros, if Haruyuki can make it, so can the rest of us. We're gonna be okay, bros. We're gonna be okay. Now, I've seen other channels discuss characters by their characteristics or by some of the crazy shit they managed to pull off. I'm not gonna do that here. Instead, I'm gonna talk about Haru by discussing some of the ladies he inadvertently manages to Rizz. Being as respectful as humanly possible in an effort to avoid getting cancelled. With that out of the way, let's begin. The first girl on this list is Haruyuki Hime. Now, Haruyuki Hime is not her real name. She is so guarded about her real identity that she actually manages to hack her school ID so that when she flashes it, her name actually shows up as Haruyuki Hime instead of her given name. So, let me tell you a bit about her. Before the start of the series, Haruyuki Hime was invited to play a VR game called Brain Burst. This game was basically think SAO, but technically she could access it anywhere she wanted with her personal computer, which is called a Neuralink, basically a computer that's in the shape of a collar. The game was basically a fighting game with some MMORPG aspects to it. When you first join, you're given an avatar, a certain set of skills, and something called burst points. The avatar's appearance and abilities are something created by the program by scanning your fears and insecurities about yourself. You use burst points to level up and use special skills in-game and out. When you level up, you are given points to upgrade your avatar. You can get more burst points by fighting and defeating other players. If your burst point total reaches 0, then the game automatically deletes from your system. You are permanently banned from ever downloading it again, and you actually lose all memories surrounding Brain Burst. It's this anime's version of death. So we in hardcore mode, boys. Let's just hope they have better servers than some other video games that came out this year. So Haruyuki Hime, aka Black Lotus in the game, quickly rose to become one of the top players in Brain Burst. Including herself, only 6 other players reached level 9 in the game. Each of these players were known as the kings or monarchs of Brain Burst, and would go on to form their own guilds called legions in the game. And like many gamers in the early 2000s, the players would separate themselves by color. So eventually the 7 kings would be contacted by the creator of the world. The creator said, "Hey kids, how would you like to reach level 10 and win an all expense paid dinner with me, the creator? Does that sound like fun? Great. Then murk the other 6 kings."
Race war! Hashtag race war!
So, one of the kings, Red Rider, who by the way does not live up to his namesake, was like, "F that. Life is great right now. Just because we all decided to separate ourselves by the color of our avatar's skin doesn't mean we can't all be friends. We should all declare a truce right now." So despite preaching peace and racial tolerance in a video game, Red Rider seemed to get through to the other kings. "Black Lotus, you're with me, right?" "Well, I mean, it's not like we actually have to finish the game, right? We can just choose not to complete the game. Just because the creator is encouraging us to get to level 10, and the first person to get to level 10 would be considered the winner of the game, doesn't mean we actually have to do it. So, if we all remain level 9, it will be like we all win, right?" No, it would be like we all lost. All 7 of us would be losers. But we'd be losers together.
Death by embracing.
Flawless victory.
And with a single hit, Black Lotus executes Red Rider. And remember, they are playing on hardcore. The moment Red lost his head, the video game was auto-deleted from his system. This man just wanted to play and hang with his friends, and she threw his ass out like he didn't have $5 to his name. I'm not gonna lie, bros, Black Lotus pulled a cold move, but man. We better be grateful she wasn't around for the first arc of Sword Art Online. She would have given 0 fucks. So the other 5 kings were like, "She just killed the Red King! Quick, lynch the Black King!" Oh god, why did I keep making racism jokes? That one sounded horrible. Okay, I'm gonna fast forward a bit before I get myself into any actual trouble. Congratulations, we just reached the beginning of the series. So, we find Haru playing squash in a VR world. This is something connected to their school. It's completely separate from Brain Burst. He has the 5 top scores in the game. While he's away, Haruyuki Hime comes in and gets the #1 spot. She does this mainly to get his attention. Don't praise her for this though, she cheated. So after getting his attention, she invites him to the senior lounge. Let's just say Haru sticks out like a sore thumb. So she offers him the Brain Burst program. I haven't touched much about the Neurolinks yet. I mentioned that it's a computer that's shaped like a collar. These computers actually directly interact with the human brain. Now, Brain Burst can only be installed via a cable. Attaching a cable to 2 Neurolinks allows the 2 users to communicate basically via telepathy. This is explained as an intimate act that only couples do. I will remind you that these 2 are in the middle of a crowded room. So Haru downloads the Brain Burst program. It's at this point that one of Haru's bullies happens to walk in wanting to mess with him. This dude is a total thug. Haruyuki Hime actually helps Haru get rid of his bully permanently by goading said bully into punching Haruyuki. I feel like I had a girlfriend like this once.
If you don't shut up, my boyfriend over here is gonna come back and pummel your ass.
I'm using the word I feel because of all the memory loss.
An apology.
Now, to be fair, said bully has been tormenting Haru for years and always escapes punishment by doing the bullying away from security cameras. I'm gonna guess that the bully is so used to people kissing his ass that when Haruyuki Hime insults him, he just throws caution to the wind because he just punches Haru in full view of the security cameras and in a room full of people. Haruyuki Hime makes sure to position herself in just the right spot to act as collateral damage. As far as any observers are concerned, she's knocked out. Well, almost any observers except Haru. Jesus, this girl is making her intentions known, and this is episode 1. The bully gets arrested and Haru can finally breathe easier. For a few days, this absolute jackass comes back and decides murder is the best solution to his recent criminal battery. So he grabs a car and drives it straight at Haru and Haruyuki Hime. This idiot was trying to isekai them. Luckily for Haru, Haruyuki Hime has one last skill up her sleeve as a level 9 burst linker, a move that lets her move at an accelerated rate. She's able to move just fast enough to save one of them, and she chooses Haru. Then our girl got isekai'd. Just kidding, she woke up a few days later, just in time to see Haru, aka Silver Crow, unlock his wings. She also pimp slaps Takemu, one of Haru's childhood friends, into joining her newly established guilds. Borrowing Silver Crow's new wings, Haruyuki Hime as Black Lotus would announce the resurrection of her guild, Nega Nebulous. Once she left the hospital, she would continue to spend more time with Haru, which would go on to upset someone. Chiyuri, or Chiyu to her friends, is Haru's other childhood friend. Haru's parents divorced when he was young. It's suggested in the light novel that neither of his parents wanted custody of him. It's also suggested that this may be the reason for his eating disorder. So as a child, he would often spend time with Takemu and Chiyu. Since his mother was often at work, he would also have dinner at Chiyu's home. A rift formed between the three friends when Takemu and Chiyu started going out. The dynamic is this: Haru is so depressed that he thinks he's unworthy of love. Chiyu has feelings for Haru doesn't know, and only agreed to go out with Takemu because Haru urged her to do so. Takemu has feelings for Chiyu, but knows that Chiyu has feelings for Haru, and is jealous of Haru over it. This poor boy is doomed to be the protag of an NTR manga. Chiyu knows that Haru is being bullied early in the series and encourages him to tell one of the teachers, but he refuses to do so. You see, Haru is so ashamed of being bullied that he makes her promise not to tell anyone, especially Takemu. Chiyu would mostly remain a background character throughout most of the anime. However, she did have a key scene at the end and beginning of episodes 2 and 3, the scene we currently find ourselves in. Chiyu takes one look at Haruyuki Hime and says,
"I need you to get the hell up out of here."
Any particular reason?
You're kind of a lazy hoe.
"And you're going out with a side character. Who are you?" "You bitch." Let me stop right there before I get into even more trouble. In reality, at this scene, Chiyu's upset that Haru took the punch from earlier, and is worried that Haruyuki Hime is just messing around with him. And to be fair to Chiyu, she has a fair reason to assume so.
好奇心で死んでしまいそうだわ。こちらの殿方はあなたとどういう関係であると理解すればいいのかしら。端的に言えば私が告白し、彼が振ったのだ。
Haruyuki Hime basically responds by saying that they're on a date right now, please go away, which leaves her flabbergasted. There's also this scene. Haru asks to cable link with Chiyu for plot reasons. Chiyu invites Haru to her room and produces a cable that cannot be more than a foot long. Woman then lays down in her bed and waits for Haru to insert the cable. Remember how I said cable linking to neuralinkers is kind of seen as something between boyfriends and girlfriends? Yeah. Eventually, she finds out that Haru and Takemo are playing a game without her and browbeats both of them into telling her about the Brain Burst program. She would get the Brain Burst program from Takemo. At the time she does, we don't get too much about her avatar, Lime Bell, but we find out that her special ability is called Citron Call and has some kind of healing effect. Before we get to learn too much, the next arc villain shows up, Noimi Seiji, but in Brain Burst, he was known as Dusk Taker. I'm not gonna lie, this kid is a little shit, but he's also dangerous. His special ability in-game lets him permanently steal abilities from other burst linkers. And just to be clear, the abilities do not return after the fight is over. Imagine if Sasuke used the Sharingan on Naruto's Rasengan, and then Naruto was never able to use the Rasengan ever again. That's the kind of bullshit that Dusk Taker has. And the Silver Crow has one ability that has this future school shooter salivating. In the first battle between Crow and Dusk Taker, Crow has his wings stolen. This would push Haru into a deeper depression for most of the remainder of the series. Dusk Taker would also trick Haru into going into the women's locker room and run right into Shiryu. Haru, like the typical anime male, braces himself for the inevitable slap guys like him normally get when they inadvertently do something perverted, and it never comes. Holy shit, Shiryu actually managed to deduce that Haru wouldn't just walk into the women's locker room just to be a perv and that something must be wrong. Bros, she's the real deal. Unfortunately for the two, Dusk Taker is recording everything going on and threatens Haru with reporting it to the school. He also blackmails Shiryu into being his Brain Burst partner, wanting to exploit her healing abilities so he can power level himself. But again, Shiryu has already proven that she's not a fool. We don't get much about Shiryu for the remainder of the arc. She's in the background leveling up with Dusk Taker, while we follow Haru and Takemo trying to figure out how to get out of their predicament. Things come to a head during the final episode. Haru and Dusk Taker make a wager all of their remaining burst points on the next fight. By the end of it, Dusk Taker is on death's door and he orders Shiryu to come in and cast Citron Call on him. And Shiryu, much to Haru's and Takemo's disappointment, actually casted Citron Call on him. Psych, punk! That's when we learn the truth. Shiryu isn't actually a healer. She's a time mage. It looked like she was healing people because she was returning them to a state that they were in a few minutes prior, i.e. before the injuries had accrued. So while Dusk Taker was forcing her to be his personal healer, Shiryu was using him to power level herself, and she poured all her enhancement points she got from leveling up into Citron Call, reversing the time of both Silver Crow and Dusk Taker to just before the point where Dusk Taker stole Crow's wings. Dusk Taker does not last much longer. On a positive note, part of the reason this kid is such a little shit is because of trauma he experienced while playing Brain Burst. So when he loses the programs and all his memories connected to Brain Burst, he seems to turn into a much nicer character. Okay, I thought I'd talk about one last girl. So far, we have the Ojo with a dark past, and we have the not-so-victorious childhood friend. But what's a good anime without a red-headed tsundere? The next girl is... One second, let me check how old Scarlet is. Oh, fuck no. No. I've already dropped way too many cancelable jokes in this video. I'm not wading into the lolly debate. Sorry guys, no tsundere this time around. Let's pick someone else. Who would be a good replacement? Oh, I know. If JoJo's Bizarre Adventure has taught us anything, is that sometimes the best girl in the series isn't even a girl. Sometimes it takes a best boy to be the best girl. And who is a better best boy than your best bro? Your best bro is there when you need a shoulder to cry on. Your best bro is there when you need someone to watch your back. Your best bro is there to fill that special place in your heart with a penis. Takamo is Haru's best bro. And much like Shiyu, I'll also be NTRing Takamo because the best boy in the series is Ash Roller. Now, the OVA leads us to believe that the owner of the Ash Roller avatar is one Kusakabe Rin. However, we found out later on in the series that she may share the account with her brother. So who is who at any given moment is a bit hazy. Regardless, Ash always talks in a male voice, so we are led to believe that he's a guy in all of his appearances. Ash was Haruyuki's first opponent in Brain Burst. This was before Silver Crow gained the ability to fly. The first fight between Ash and Silver Crow went like this. Imagine there are two martial artists facing off against each other. Now imagine that one of those martial artists has a motorcycle. Yeah, Crow lost the first round, but like a true gamer, Crow got back up to challenge Ash a second time. Prior to that, Haru decided to consult a strategy guide and realized that if he had any hope of winning this fight, he was gonna have to deal with the motorcycle. Let me just say, this boy has a genius level IQ. He must watch Rick and Morty. Somehow, even though Ash had leveled up, Haru would gain his first W that day. Like that one nephew who loses 1,000 games in Super Smash Bros. But manages to beat you that one time you aren't really paying attention, so he goes to take a victory lap around the house. God damn, I am proud of that boy. Fast forward. Ash comes up again during the Dusktaker arc. This man basically had a free pass to commit a hate crime, but instead he realized that Crow was off his game, so he sits down with Crow and talks and learns everything that's going on with Crow. After learning that Crow lost his wings, Ash would take him to the one person who could help him at that point. Ash's actions that day would eventually help Crow get out of his funk and would put him on a path to defeat Dusktaker. And look at these two riding on the Ash's bike together in the sunset. That's just beautiful. If you enjoyed my random ramblings, please comment down below on your pick for Accel World's Best Girl. Go ahead and smash that like button and subscribe to the page. Peace.